Watch out, dog. There's a legion that we're forming.
Over the last few weeks across London are not the work of several people as was originally believed, but the work of an individual. The criminal suspected to have links with the terrorist group DedSec is marked as dangerous.
Nate, you and I jumped into Watch Dogs Legion. This is one I've been looking forward to. I'm a big Watch Dogs fan, so when I saw the fact that we can pretty well take whoever we want and form them to be a part of our DedSec team, this really had me hooked as well. And of course, you know, man, Watch Dogs has always been a cool series, and they've had a lot of iterations moving forward, and this one this year is being one of the biggest. What are you thinking of Watch Dogs Legion?
Well, man, kind of hopping right off with what you said, the whole Legion aspect is really cool and something that I haven't seen done quite like this. You legitimately play as any character that you can recruit, which is almost everybody in the game. It seems like you walk by NPCs all the time in the open world, and some of them you can't and some of them you can, but regardless, you have access to all these people, and they each have kind of unique abilities and things along that. But yeah, they each have their own voice, their own kind of backstory. And when you play as them, like when you're doing the cutscenes, they're right there and they're interacting with your other recruits. It's something I haven't quite seen like anything like this before, man. It's crazy.
No, it is pretty nuts to think about the fact that you can gather any NPC in the game and bring them into your Legion, which is really, really cool. But at the same point, Nate, when I first started playing the game, I was a little concerned that if I can just incorporate whoever, then the people on my team, in a sense, almost don't really matter. So if I lose them, because you have the option to play with permadeath. I chose permadeath, and as I played through the game, well, I had one couple situation arise over another, and as I played further along, I got a little nervous actually about losing some of my top tier characters. It's not like the RPG system though, right? Where you're able to upgrade all your characters, so when you lose that character, it's like, holy crap, now what?
Yeah.
Where here, you pick whoever, you bring them in your team, you do the tasks to bring them in, and then from there, you build out your team. And part of me was like, well, if I can just do that with whoever, then the people on my team really don't matter that much. And for the most part, to be honest, I only use a couple people on my team, but I've really kind of grown fond of those people. They have a certain set of perks. I use a super spy. I've got a hitman. I've got a hacker who can tap into drones and summon drones. And, you know, so depending on the situation or the mission that I'm on, I will go with one agent or operator over the other. And it just depends on which way I want to play. And often I'm using my super spy. My super spy is super cool, dude. And
what a surprise.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's my play style. I'm that stealth character. So I'm going to go in that kind of game mode. And it will allow me to go in and take out guys as quietly as possible. And then from there, move on. So I got into a couple situations. I thought, holy, like I'm about to lose this guy. And then what? Because then my super spy is now gone. So at the beginning, like I said, I wasn't too worried, but as I got along and as I'm playing more and more missions, dude, there were a few times I got nervous, that's for sure. Okay, I want to touch on, I think, but for me, probably his biggest highlight of the game is actually the story of DedSec and the fight that they have in front of them with London. The way the game opened up, I felt very James Bond-esque to me, the way the whole story kind of introduces itself, and then London kind of goes to hell, and then from there you're building up DedSec to fight against Albion and a couple other factions you run into with Kelly, and oh man, like the Sky Larson stuff was incredible. So you get into these other twists and turns within the story, and it feels like a big conspiracy theorist kind of roadmap that you run into as you kind of progress down the line of everything, and it had me hooked. Like the story was, to me, one of the best parts of the game, one of the coolest stories this year too. I thought it was phenomenal.
They can grab anyone off the street, call them illegal immigrants, potential DedSec insurgents, whatever, though we know who the real danger is. So Clan Kelly gets hold of these people, these immigrants, deportees, victims, really, and they're taking them somewhere. But where and why?
Nate, as strong as the story is, there are some hiccups along the way. No game to this degree is ever perfect by any means, but I've run into a couple issues, man. Like the one part here, I actually had 2 NPCs just kind of pop in the world in front of me and then fall from the sky. Like it was just, they were nowhere to be found, and all of a sudden they were like right there and on the like they were falling. It was weird. And another time I'm in one of the missions and I'm in the building and one of the guards are up on a desk and he's in this continuous walking loop into the desk. And I can't sneak up behind him like I normally would and kind of choke them out. I had to shoot the guy, and he's one of the guys that exploded, so that just kind of threw everything south for me, right? So I had to bail out on that one. But yeah, it's just, nothing's perfect. But to the game, like, I don't want to give them slack either, right? At the same time, but there's something this vast, this big, this open, where the fact that you can almost take on anybody you want. Like, there's just so many aspects to the game that never been done before. I thought it was really cool. But again, no game is ever perfect either, and it definitely has its hiccups.
Yeah, you know, I had a couple of those typical Ubisoft NPC kind of errors where they're in that loop. Like I had one behind cover. It was really tough. I had to shoot him in the head, but it was like zoom, 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 zoom. Yeah. And then other things where like their line of sight is questionable. It's usually in your favor where it's like I should probably be seen right now, but they just kind of drive by or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, let's actually kind of talk about the kind of the wanted system and I guess London itself, navigating through London with the wanted system. Man, it was not easy. The whole left-handed side thing was completely throwing me for a loop.
Well, it's all left-hand side in all one-way streets in London.
Yeah.
And then the roundabouts, right? So like we're definitely not used to that stuff. So to get into the wanted symbol, it kind of reminded me obviously of the GTA wanted level of how that works, and then you can escape. But again, so I had characters that could cloak themselves. You have that ability early, or I actually had, because my spy himself has the ability to cloak his own car. So I take off in the car, cloak myself, and I just bail out. So, you know, but traversing the landscape of London and how they've made it seem so almost post-apocalyptic in a sense, because it was such a big catastrophe when the game opened up. I thought it was really cool. And then everywhere seems different than the last environment and then the other environment. And then there are these little things you kind of go and you open up parts of the map, and then they give you other operators, DedSec agents you can bring in, and that's how you get rewarded, by bringing in specialists in a sense versus just some random walking down the street who may only have the ability to hold a heavy, you know, like hammer or something along that line, versus having, you know, the ability to hack a drone, call a drone, and all these other elements to themselves. Overall, Nate, to me, the game really hooked me. I was in there instantly, had a great time. The story is so cool. It's so, there's these twists and turns that you like. I was just like, wow, ooh, it went there. I'm like, holy crap, and then it went there. I was like, oh my goodness. So I always wanted to keep playing. I wanted to find out more in the story. The fact that you can go in and actually take on whoever you want, I thought was pretty incredible. And man, like, it just, what a unique game for Watch Dogs to take from where they've gone with 1, 2, and now into Legion. It's been a really innovative step for Ubisoft, and I think for players, they definitely want to take a look at Watch Dogs Legion. It's cool. Whether you want to go with the old granny side, or you want to go in stealth, or you want to go hackers, there's so many options when you're forming your own team for DedSec. Super cool, and that's why, dude, I gotta give it an 8.5.
Oh, nice, man. I'm pretty close to you. I didn't quite, you know, it's not quite there with me. Yeah. I'm gonna have to give it an 8, but man, I just really appreciate what London looks like, and just traversing around this really kind of crazy post-apocalyptic world.
Nice.
Building a legion of random NPCs is a great time in this twisted telling of post-apocalyptic London.
No, she's in the kitchen.